Annabelle Beasley.
Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please introduce yourself to the jury.
My name is Annabelle Beasley.
And Miss Beasley, where do you live?
I live in Satilla Shores, 225 Satilla Shores, Brunswick, Georgia.
And how far is that from Sue B. Lawrence's house?
Next door,
Could you tell the jury how you're related to Miss Lawrence?
she's my daughter. And since she's single, divorced, I asked her to move next door so I could keep an eye on the kids.
How long have you lived in that house you're
Since
living?
2004,
So 16, 17 years?
longer than that.
Longer than that. My math is wrong. And you mentioned your grandchildren, Sue B's
No,
children.
1994, I'm sorry. Did I say
1994. Okay, Sue,
2000?
it's not my math, it's your math.
My math was.
All right. And you mentioned grandchildren. How many kids does Sue B have?
She has 3 boys.
And how old are they?
Right now, the oldest is 15. I have a 13 and a 10.
Okay. Please describe for us the type of neighborhood Satilla Shores is. Certainly when you moved in 1994 and as it's gotten
When
closer.
I moved in 1994, it was an older neighborhood, a lot of seniors in there, and it was quiet. I think my kids were the only 2 daughters that grew up next door, grew up right there. They went to high school they were in Satilla Shores, and so we didn't know a whole lot of neighbors then because a lot of seniors tend to keep to themselves. But in the last few years, things have evolved and the seniors have moved on and we've got younger families in the neighborhood.
So more children in the neighborhood.
That is correct.
Do you know the children who live across the street at the Perez residence?
I certainly do.
Okay, and how do you know those kids?
I know those kids really well. I've known them since they were little because they went to the daycare with my little grandkids.
Okay.
Yes.
Um,
And I've known Diego since he was a young boy at Sunday school. And then we reconnected, and then I found out that he's buying a house across the street from me. And I said, what a blessing.
Okay. That's wonderful. So, the neighborhood was elderly, now it's more younger families. Do you live with anybody in your house?
No.
Okay. Do you do anything to maintain your own security at your house?
I have recently, after all the happenings in the neighborhood, it was unnerving, and so I had to. And she's single, she couldn't defend me. I got to protect myself, so it became necessary to have cameras put up.
Okay, and you have cameras at your front door, or what parts of your house?
I think I only have one at the front door.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was put on recently. So.
Okay. Did there come a time when you yourself became the victim of a property crime?
Yes, I did.
Could you tell us about that?
Well, I was in China, and my black Honda was sitting in my driveway, and my kids, I communicated with them every day, and they discovered that the car was broken into, the door was wide open, and they had been in, so they saw that it was all ransacked. And I asked my daughter if she reported it to the police, and she said no, because the week before, somebody's Jeep was broken into, and the police said, you should have locked your door, there's nothing we can do about it. And since my door was unlocked, she decided not to call the police.
Mm. Did you end up, when you came home from China, calling the police about it or anything?
No, it was way past, yeah.
Okay, so it was a crime that's unreported to the police?
That is correct.
Okay. Did you become aware of a situation where Subi's cameras, Miss Lawrence's cameras, went off one night in 2019?
She told me about it.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you, as a result of what she told you, did you do anything about that?
Not personally, no.
Didn't change security, didn't change
No.
your...
I have a security system in the house.
Right. Like an alarm system?
Right.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that Miss Lawrence has three
Boys.
kids,
Three
three
boys,
boys.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of those boys ever going across the street to Mr. English's house to borrow some pieces of wood?
No.
Okay. Are you aware of them ever playing at Mr. English's house?
They played with Mr. English's son.
Ah.
And Mr. English's son would come across and play with them. And Mr. English, when they were using scrap wood to make a ramp, he said he would build them a ramp.
Okay. And do you know if that ever happened?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Did there ever come a time when your grandchildren became too afraid to play outside?
Yes.
And do you know what happened?
Well, I think they were scared by what they saw. And when they called their grandmother one night, I wasn't there, and their mama was at a birthday dinner, and they saw somebody. Pardon me?
No, not you. You can sustain or overrule that objection.
Yeah, this is what she heard that the boys were reacting to.
Okay.
That's the same.
Let me move past what they told you.
Okay.
Did there come a time where they stopped playing outside at night?
We wouldn't allow them to.
You didn't allow them. You say we, you're talking about you and Miss Lawrence.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And why wouldn't you allow them to play outside?
Because we didn't want them to encounter anything, you know.
I think this is all still based on hearsay from what she heard from either the board or somebody else. So the reaction or what they're allowing them to do because of that is still based on that hearsay.
Okay, let's focus in on that. Let's figure out.
Yeah.
It sounds like she made a decision. Let's figure out what her decision is and why.
Right, and that's what I was trying to do, Judge. Do not tell us what the boys told you, but did there come a time when they stopped playing outside?
That's correct.
And you said you didn't want them to play outside.
Correct.
And tell us why you and Miss Lawrence made the decision not to let them play outside.
Because of things that were happening in the neighborhood.
Okay.
We didn't want the boys out there. We didn't want them to confront or see anything that they shouldn't. You know, we didn't want them to be a victim of anything, so we
is
let
it
them stay inside.
a safety
And
issue?
even till today, they barely go out except now that they're older, they will play, but as long as we are home, it's okay for them to be out there. But they do go across to Perez's house, and we're okay with that.
As long as they're being overseen.
They're right, exactly.
Okay. Was there a time, Miss Beasley, when you were interviewed by GBI agents?
Yes.
Okay, do you know when that was?
When the incident occurred,
The incident being the shooting of Mr.
that is
Arbery?
correct.
Okay, and you gave a statement to the GBI?
Yes.
Okay, all right. That's all I have. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Anything from the state?
I just have a couple of questions. Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you?
Good afternoon, fine, thank you.
I'm Paul Camarillo. I'm part of the prosecution team.
Nice to meet you.
We may have talked on the phone, I
I think
believe.
you did. You
We
and I
did?
had a long conversation.
We did, right?
I do remember that
Okay.
now, yes.
Was it a good one?
Yes, it was a good one.
Okay.
I think I told you all that I was thinking.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
You did. You did. And not all of that is relevant evidence.
Okay,
All right?
gotcha.
So I just got a
Okay.
few questions for you, okay? Mm-hmm. You've been in the neighborhood a long time,
Right.
okay? Is it fair to say that a vast majority of these crimes that occurred in the neighborhood were property crimes or car break-ins and that sort of thing?
Correct.
Okay. Other than the homicide of Mr. Arbery, violent crimes were few and far between or non-existent in the neighborhood. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Ma'am, that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
May she be excused.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. You may step down.
Thank you, sir.
Is she under state subpoena?
No.
All right, and you are excused. Thank you.
Thank you.